All right, well, welcome to the Virginia Union University National Football Signing Day. We are here with head football coach, head VUU football coach, Mark James, along with recruiting coordinator, Rashad Harris. Welcome, both of you, and assistant coach, Troy Taylor. Welcome, coach.
Welcome.
Now, I need to ask you first off, Coach James, please explain to us, what is National Signing Day?
National Signing Day is a phenomenon that goes throughout the collegiate community when it comes to football in America. This time of the year, the first week of February, everybody gets excited, every school, every level, on the ability to be able to recruit new talent, new student athletes to their school to improve their community of their school, the overall milieu, and the value of their team. So it's a great thing. It happens every year. Everybody's excited. It's a year's worth, sometimes 2 years worth of recruiting a young student athlete to be able to go to your school, and we're all waiting on that special decision.
Tell me a little bit about, how do you feel about this current class of signees?
Well, first, reflecting from the last two classes, we feel very strong about this class. We want to say that this class is probably the strongest since this is actually our third year in our 3 years of tenure here. We feel that we were able to meet some of the needs that we had. Obviously, offensive line was a major need for us to be able to replenish, and we were able to do such.
We have the media here with us. Would you like to ask a few questions?
Sure thing. I noticed on the people you've signed for this class are a couple of transfers, Bradley Brown from VMI and Holland Fisher from Virginia Tech. What was that process like to get those guys to come down here to Virginia Union? Because Virginia Tech's obviously a very high-profile school, and VMI is a well-renowned school in Virginia.
Well, we have coaches that are great recruiters that do a great job of canvassing the RVA area. And both of these guys have, gone above and beyond to be able to do that. I think with the 2 years of success that we were able to accomplish, it's attracted talent from other portions, other schools, other state schools in the state of Virginia.
Would you say that making the playoffs last year and the progress you guys have made have helped in kind of selling Virginia Union for transfers that are looking to make their way and potentially the CIAA?
Absolutely. It's all about branding, the ability to be able to continue to brand your school, your product, the football program, for others to be able to see. The more you win, the more it gets branded, the more opportunities you'll have to be able to attract high-level talent.
Staying with local talent, a couple guys from the Richmond area, Akia Timberlake from Goochland High School, Daquan Spence from Thomas Jefferson right down the road. How do you feel you guys did in the city of Richmond in finding some guys that can fit in your system?
Well, whenever we look at the RVA thumbprint, we're trying to make sure that every year Virginia Union is in the mix. We feel very strong. I mean, we're able to fill positions that with young men that we think will be able to come in and play right away. We know that whenever you recruit local student athletes, that also equates to bringing more people to the stands. And I think if you look at the young men and the quality of the young men that we were able to get from the RVA thumbprint, you'd agree with that.
Then last question, then Jimmy can take back over.
No problem.
You also done a great job. You came from the Miami area before you came to Virginia, and you got guys from Booker T. Washington, great school in South Florida. What can they contribute? Will they be able to contribute right away in that talent pool from South Florida?
Well, those two young men from Booker T. Washington are coming from a school, two-time national championship high school. They compete on a very high level. They play the best in the nation on their schedule. We know that those young men will be able to come in right away and contribute. We were very detailed and careful this year that every high school student athlete that we brought in, we want them to be able to be instant impact players, and players that even if they are not able to contribute in their actual position, will be able to find a role on special teams.
Sure, I was going to ask Coach Harris, what specific areas were you concentrating on? And maybe Coach Taylor too, what specific areas, or is there a specific area that you concentrated on for the signees?
Well, like Coach said, we made sure we handled our home base, the state of Virginia. Those people, like Coach said, they fill up the stands. You can't go wrong with the state of Virginia. A lot of high character guys out here, a lot of talent. So we made sure we put our hands in our backyard. We don't want anybody coming in the state of Virginia. We are Virginia Union.
Coach Taylor, positions on the field, were there any positions that you were concentrating on?
Offensive line, and then looking for some skill guys.
Coach James, can you expound a little
Yeah,
bit?
these guys, like I said, I repeat, these guys have done a great job. We wanted to single out being able to replenish. You're talking about losing guys like Addison Hayes, who last year was an All-American, a two-time All-American as a junior, and an All-American as a senior, All-CIAA player junior year and senior year. That's a hard guy to replace. Dahan Taylor, also an All-CIAA player, started every game, never missed a game to injury. So we know right away that we had to do a lot of work in trying to replenish the offensive line. So that was our main interest.
Now, there is a touch a little bit about, this is our backyard, Richmond, Virginia, and we have a couple of players on the local signee, but one is getting a lot of press. Daquan Taylor. Chip asked a little bit earlier about that. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
Well, first of all, when you think about Daquan, it's the smallest things. Number one is his smile. His smile says a lot to me about his character. When we met with his family, he had over seven family members there willing to ask questions, wanted to, had concerns about, Daquan's future. It's a big deal for the city of Richmond and his school, Thomas Jefferson. It's really a big deal, and we're real proud of the opportunity to be able to bring him in. You're talking about an athlete that is 6'5", 6'6", that plays receiver, that also plays on the varsity basketball team at TJ. We believe that there are large things in his future, and we believe that we recruited a guy that's going to be an All-CIAA perennial player.
You also have several signees from Florida. Now, you being from Florida, I can see where the link is. And also with Coach Taylor from Florida A&M. There is a connection there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of your main areas personally? Is that one of your main areas you concentrate on?
Well, my main area is the RVA thumbprint. From here, south of here, all the way up to the Baltimore area.
Mm-hmm.
We always want to make sure that we remain very competitive, not only with CIAA opponents, but also we have learned that, we could also compete with some of the MEAC opponents for recruiting rights of some of these areas. We want to make sure that first is the preface of our recruiting. We do recruit other areas. Just like everybody else, we recruit JUCO areas. Florida being the place that I've stemmed roots, will always be a place that we look back to be able to get special players from.
It leads me to my next question. Gustavius, I hope I pronounced his name correctly. Gustavius Dames.
Absolutely.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about him. He was part of a championship team. How big a catch is that?
Well, I think when you look at those guys, you look at a package, both Dames and the other young men. You look at a package. You look at a wide receiver DB combo, and the first thing you always say as a head coach is how much speed can you add to your program? It's either speed or strength and size. So when you look at those two young men, you're talking about young men that also co-op with track and are pretty good track athletes. And those two young men, it's history. They're 3-year starters at a school that has played the toughest competition in the nation.
Now, there seems to be an even number. I'm going to let Chip go ahead and get his microphone so he can get back to the station. Thank you for coming by, Chip. Now, there seems to be an even number of high school signees and JUCO transfers. Is that by design?
Well, we don't ever want to build our program off of junior college players alone. I think every coach in the country, every college coach in the country has their own type of design of what they think will be best for their program to kind of build a foundation. We always want to build the foundation out with our 4-year guys, 5-year guys that can be true, get the full experience of being a Virginia Union Panther. That's our first most point that we want to say. We sprinkle with JUCO and transfer guys, but the majority of our signees always will be our high school guys.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to go down the line here. There's 20 names on this list altogether.
Yes, sir.
And I want, if you can, I'd like for you to say a little bit something about each signee. It doesn't have to be you, Coach James. It can be Coach Harris or
Sure.
Coach Taylor, whoever feels most comfortable. Michael Huff from Churchland High School.
Why not let Coach do that?
Mike was a kid out of Church and High School in Portsmouth, and he ripped it up at every camp that he went to over the summer. And he's a 3.6 GPA, so he's a high character and also a high academic kid, and that's what we're looking for in this program. And he's a guy that makes plays on the field, and he's a guy that can play in the slot or can play outside receiver, and he's got great hands and he's elusive. So we're excited about adding Michael Huff to our program.
You mentioned something which I really want to touch on before we move on. This GPA, 3.6 GPA from Michael Huff. You're not only recruiting athletes, you're recruiting student athletes, and these are student athletes who seem to have very high GPAs. How important is that to your signing?
Well, Jim, I can tell you this: when we took over the program, the team GPA was roughly around a 2.083. We were able to bring that up somewhat substantially. I believe last semester we were at about a 2.8, and we're right now at about a 2.7. After the season, we feel very comfortable. When you have a young man that you could trust in the classroom, it equates to character. It equates to a lot of different things that you can't coach. Mm-hmm. So when you look at a young man that's coming into the school with a 3.6, we want to bring people into the school that can add to the school and not just take away. So that is our concept. A lot of our guys that are high school signees have high GPAs.
Darius Whitehurst from Norfolk, Virginia, Bishop Sullivan Catholic High School.
Darius, like Coach said, one of those high academic kids, has a 3.8. Also on the field, speaks for himself, an all-state linebacker who's done very well on the field, and a guy that can come here and actually play as a true freshman. So we feel like this kid is a big deal, a kind of a big steal from the 757 area. I feel like this kid can contribute to us right now.
And if I may to add to him, Jim, before you leave that young man, that's one of our biggest pickups since we've been here. This young man was being suited by Division I AA programs local to him, and he made the choice to come to Virginia Union University.
Fantastic. Emmanuel Entry or whatever. However, I'm going to butcher some of these names. I know. I apologize, but it happens.
Iman is a kid from Hilton High School in Woodbridge, Virginia. Hilton is one of the perennial great programs in Virginia. They always put out about 10 Division I football players every single year. One of the coaches up there, Coach Harris, is a local guy from Richmond, and we were very, very lucky to get Iman down here. He's about 6'2", 220-pound linebacker. He also puts his hand down in the dirt and goes and gets the quarterback. He's also a good student. He's a 3.0 GPA, high character kid. Yes sir, no sir, and we're excited about adding the kid from the Northern Virginia area to our program down here in Richmond, and hopefully we'll get more players in that area as the years go on.
Fantastic. Javari Alvin, Everglades High School in Miami. Who would like to take a look?
I'll take him. He's a young man that actually, what was interesting about it was we actually went to his school just to try to get an opportunity to meet a couple of the recruits. We ended up spending a good part of an hour with him. Very interested young man, great grades, over 3.0 GPA, quarterback of his team, played free safety, quarterback, any position that his coach asked him to play. Art Taylor's his head coach at that school, and just a great character kid. So I just wanted to make sure I put that out there about him.
We have Fred Jeter from the Free Press here.
Thank you. I apologize. There was a wreck on 288 coming in from Chesterfield. Lost a little time.
We're good to see you here safe.
If you have any questions, Fred, feel free to jump in.
I don't know do you have a handout of the recruits?
Yes, I do, actually. We have, let's see, we did have. We'll get you one. Yeah. We want to make a copy of mine real quick here, or however we want to do this. While you're looking over that, we're going down the list, asking to say each one a little something about each one of them. We've already touched on Gustavius Daines, so let's look at Michael Dobbins.
Michael Dobbins, a kid from originally from Harlem, New York, but is from Staunton, Virginia. A kid who's who's been recruited by D1s as well. 6'2", 290 defensive tackle. D-line can go all down the line. A kid that we feel like can help us out right now. A kid with that size coming out of high school. You can't pass up on a kid like that. So that was just a big steal for us as well, and he can help us out ASAP.
Fred, whenever you're ready, just jump on in, okay? So
There's quite a few names here.
there's 20 signees. Mm-hmm.
Of the 20 signings, how many of them are high school boys and how many of them are transfers?
You have, I believe there's 10 high school signees and 10 transfers on the list.
What's your emphasis for recruiting? Is it transfers or high school?
No, the emphasis is always high school guys, and we just sprinkle the transfers in. But our foundation has been built out. If you remember, year one, we signed 28 high school freshmen, and year two we signed, I believe it was somewhere near 30. So those guys have grown in the program. And every year we've had more than 2 all-CIAA freshman players of the year from that same concept. So we not only bring in freshmen, we bring in guys that we're going to play.
Coach, let me ask you about Akia Timberlake.
Yes, sir.
He's from Goochland High School.
Mm-hmm.
I saw his picture this morning on the web signing. Tell me a little bit about him.
High character kid. You talk about a young man that is second in charge in ROTC at his school. He's right under a 3.0 GPA. Everybody that speaks to him speaks really highly of him. He's also a coach at a Little League program in Short Pump, which he drives. He has his mom drive him 40-something miles each way 3 times a week to coach those 12-year-old team members. That alone shows me what kind of dedication he's going to put forth once he gets on this campus, but just a high character kid.
We already touched on Daquan Spence, but Fred, if you would like to ask him.
I was looking down this list and my eyes just popped out of my head. Holland Fisher, come on. Tell us about
Holland Fisher.
He was originally a Virginia Tech recruit and tremendous physical strength.
Right.
Almost freakishly. Tell me about what you know. I mean, what went into the recruit. I believe this past year he may have played for junior college in Mississippi and
California.
California. Tell me about Holland Fisher.
Well, what I'll say about him, and all those things that you said athletically are correct. The greatest thing about Holland Fisher, though, really is what his intentions are. Holland Fisher left, as you know, he played in the U.S. Army All-American game. He was going back to junior college to be able to transfer back out to a Division I school. He does have custody of his daughter, so he's looking to come home, spend more time with her, and be able to raise his daughter. So us being a local school and him living right, maybe 10 minutes away from here, it ended up being the perfect choice for him.
Now, will Fisher be eligible immediately?
He will be, yes,
So
sir.
he'll be in the spring ball.
Correct.
So he's enrolling now.
Correct.
Now.
Yes, sir.
That's a pretty big catch. How did you find, who was your contact? I mean, you had to have, was it Coach Taylor? Because I know he's a Chesterfield guy.
Well, Coach Taylor's our RVA recruiter, and all the young men that are in the RVA area, Coach Taylor does an excellent job, as we speak all the time about recruiting the guys from this area and having deep ties with a lot of the coaches and having good relationships. So, we have benefited from, the fact that he has those tentacles all over the RVA area.
Well, Coach Taylor, you were well aware of Fisher because he played at Clover Hill, but then he finished at Manchester. A bit of an unusual situation there. And the reason given at the time was so he could drive his brother to school. Now, some people's eyebrows rose through the roof. Right. You knew it, of course.
I coached against him. I coached against him at Clover Hill, and I coached against him at Manchester. I knew both of his head coaches, Sean O'Hare at Clover Hill and Tom Hall at Manchester, and I've known Holland ever since he was a ninth grader. He moved from Lancaster County. So you know, the relationships that our staff has with the local high school coaches and with the local high school players, it's helped us, and we look forward to building those relationships and continuing to getting these high-profile players.
Along those lines, you had some outstanding players yourself at Meadowbrook for any intake this way.
On signing day, we did not sign anyone from Meadowbrook High School this year.
Even indirectly from a junior college? I mean, like Meadowbrook Junior College Junior, you didn't do it, remember that?
We did not sign anyone from Meadowbrook High School yet so far this year.
Fred kind of stepped on my big finish, but that's okay. I was going to have Holland Fisher as the big finish, but that's okay, Fred. Let me ask you now. We talked.
Well, Fisher may not be the best player on that list, but he's the one that caught my eye.
Well, it's going to catch a lot of people's eye too, I believe. You know, so. But we were, you know, everything's great and everything. So now we talked about Daquan Spence earlier, and we've touched on him a couple of times. So we're going to move to Jeffrey Joseph, Deerfield. Oh, go ahead.
Can we go back on Spence?
Sure, go ahead.
He is, it looks like the only City of Richmond boy that you said, 6'6", whatever, so he played on a kind of shaky program in high school. How'd you find out about Daquan Spence?
Well, he's a young man that stood out while we were recruiting locally, and we knew right away that we thought that he could develop in our program. While he's, 6'6", and he's, not the biggest receiver out there in stature, as in weight, we look at his frame and we see that he could easily be a 205 guy. His ability to jump, his ability to run, and his hands, his soft hands, attracted us. And that was the main reason that pulled our attention to actually look at him from TJ.
No problem. Jeffrey Joseph, Deerfield Beach, down in Pompano Beach, Florida.
Jeffrey Joseph, another young man with over a 3.0 GPA. He actually in the ROTC program is the head person, the head officer in Deerfield Beach High School. With him, we asked just about everybody we could find in the high school about him, and everybody really just kind of reverberated about his high character. He's another young man that has excellent route running ability, very soft hands, the ability to be able to get away and stretch the field against defensive backs. We feel really good about his situation in signing him.
Now I'm going to blow this next name. Marquise
Desus.
Okay. Booker T. Washington, another Florida person.
Once again, whenever you look at these young men from Booker T. Washington High School, the national championships, the national schedule that they have, these young men are 3-year starters on that team. I think that they speak for themselves. All of these guys are coming in with good mid-range academics between his 2.7, 2.8 GPA and the high level of competition that they've played on.
Fantastic. Now we have Bradley Brown he's a transfer from VMI, Virginia Military.
It's another one of those situations where the relationship with the high school coach at Magna Vista High School, they just won 2 state championships in a row. Joe Favreau and the offensive line coach, Drew Lowry, are good friends of mine. And Brad was a situation where he went to VMI and he decided to go home, and now he's going to be coming here to Virginia Union to play offensive line for us. So he played for my good friend at Magna Vista High School, and he's a yes sir, no sir guy and a good student, and we're really excited about adding him to our program.
Who was the coach at Magna Vista?
Joe Favreau.
How do you spell that?
Favero.
They won like 3A.
They won 2, yes sir, 3A.
Justin Cook, another transfer from Delaware State.
Justin Cook, we emphasize a lot on our offensive line. We feel like we need to build more, depth with this position. So, Justin Cook, a guy, Virginia Union, we're a school of second chances, so we needed a guy, an older guy who, had some, trouble at Delaware State, who he didn't really play that much, but appeared in some games there, and we feel like he can help us out right now because of the type of position he plays, the type of games he played in at that high level. We feel like he can come here to this Division II level and do what he needs to do on and off the field to be successful at Virginia Union.
Will he have a junior eligibility?
Yes.
Roderick Simpson, Hines Community College, Mississippi person.
Yes, a Mississippi kid, one of the first, guys on this campus from Mississippi. Coach and I, we actually went down to Mississippi to, see these kids, at school, see, his teachers, see what he brought to the team, and a high caliber kid, following after Addison Hayes, an All-American. We needed some, another guy that can come in and help us out right now. We feel like this guy can take on those shoes and help us out.
Marquise Fairchild, a Hawaii kid, okay.
Marquise Fairchild is actually a young man that I know very well back when he was in high school. Marquise is a great personality. He signed with University of Hawaii out of high school. He is a tall, rangy linebacker at about 6'4". Very good vision on the field, great work ethic, great attitude, and we believe that he'll be a great plus for our program.
William Stanback, Central Florida transfer.
Running back that we were able to recruit from University of Central Florida. We believe, he's actually from New York. This year we know that we were very successful at running back. We wanted to add a running back, a bigger running back to what we were doing. Obviously, playing in November, you need somebody that can take the banging and is a little bit bigger than our current all-CIAA freshman of the year. So we feel real blessed to be able to add him to our number, and we think he'll do well in our program.
Will Stanback also have junior eligibility?
Will Stanback, he'll have one more year to play.
Yes, senior.
Correct, sir.
Aquil Ingram, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Aquil.
Yep, Aquila Ingram, a position that we lost 2 seniors, so we had to, fulfill that need. Another million guys already enrolled can come here and contribute to the team right now at the position tight end.
Is it Leviton?
Lavashe Kelly.
Lavashe Kelly, okay.
Lavashe Kelly is a young man from South Florida, know him very well. Actually broke the receiving record in the state of Florida as a high school senior. Went on to Tennessee State University, and we now have him here. We feel really good about Lavashe Kelly. Great work ethic. Everything that you want in a receiver, he has it. The feet, the hands, the skill, the eye coordination. We feel real good about him.
Keenanis Davis from Lackawanna College. He's a Cincinnati native.
Keonis is from Cincinnati, and he played junior college football at Lackawanna, and he's a guy that gets to the football. He's the linebacker that can also come down and play 9 technique outside of the tight end or 5 technique outside of the tackle, and he gets after the quarterback, and he's pretty vicious. And he's a great kid, and we're excited about him being a part of our program and our defense.
And you talked earlier about packaging. It looks like you got a package here from Lackawanna. Justin Lyles.
Justin Boombox Lyles.
Boombox.
He's a special kid to this program because he's a Phoebus Phantom. And when he was down there in the 757 playing, they won 4 state championships in a row. So this is a kid that started on 4 state championship teams. An emphasis is for us to recruit the 804 and also the 757. So we've done that by adding Boombox. So a lot of people are going to be traveling up 64 to come see Justin Lyles play here. And he's an undersized linebacker, but his toughness makes up for it.
And again, Holland Fisher, we touched on him a little bit. Anything you can add on him?
No, I think that we said it all on Holland. He has some work to knock some of the rust off. We believe that he could eventually be a great part of our program and add to what we're trying to do.
You mentioned he was a junior college in California.
believe he was at San Jose City College.
Did he play?
Yes,
So he has lost 1 year eligibility.
correct, sir.
So he'll be correct.
Correct.
Fred, if you got anything else?
Well, let's not short Jarrell Harris.
You want to speak on Jarrell? Yeah, you want to speak on Jarrell?
Jarrell is he's another local kid, and those relationships that we have with these area coaches, it's really paying off. You know, me being good friends with Stu Brown, that is the head coach at Verina, Coach Jarrell, and you know, Jarrell knowing me from my time at Meadowbrook, he's just a Division I receiver that we can add to this program, and another 804 kid. So we're excited about Jarrell Harrison being a part of this program, Fred.
And Jarrell was added after the broadcast started. His paperwork came in. That's why
Correct, absolutely.
we didn't want to shortchange him. It's just that we didn't have him on the initial
No
roster.
problem, no problem.
So congratulations to that. Coach, is there anything that you would like to add before we wrap this up today?
Well, I'm just proud of, first of all, you know, on a whole, our athletic department that is moving at a rapid pace on changing the culture of Virginia Union University. Second of all, I'm really proud of my staff. I think I have the best staff in the CIAA, and I like to even, you know, spread my wings a little further. I have dedicated guys with over 200 years of experience coming to the table, guys that have coached on the collegiate level, high school level, guys that are from this area that add that texture to what we do. Also, I like to, you know, take the time to say, you know, our kids have worked hard since we took this program over. We went from 3-7 and the perennial doormat of the CIAA for several years. We were the homecoming team for a lot of teams. And I think in year one, for us to go 7-3 and lose in the championship game meant a lot to this program. And they got the wheels started to turn on changing the culture. Then to come back the next year and go 8-2 regular season and make it for the first time in 24 years to the NCAA playoffs. You know, you got to really be proud of those kids that have bought into the program. It goes back to the high school kids that we recruited in year one and year two, which, you know, they were a large part of that success. So we're excited. We're excited about what spring 2016 holds. We're excited about the spring game. We're also excited about, you know, summer preparation and summer classes and guys coming in here and giving everything that they have for the summer to get better. And we're excited about camp, the final preparation before the season. I think when you look at our schedule that was posted last week, we have one of the toughest schedules in Division II. Our first 2 games are against perennial NCAA playoff opponents. And then when you look at Winston-Salem, the champions of the CIAA, you know, we definitely came in week 1, 2, and 3 with the intention of getting better every week and facing the best competition that we possibly can to challenge our program, challenge our kids and our coaching staff. So just also want to say I appreciate especially these 2 guys for the hard work that they've put in to recruit in what I think personally is the best recruiting class in many years of Virginia Union. They've done an excellent job, and it's not to be, you know, sold short.
Fantastic, Coach. Coach James, Coach Harris, Coach Taylor, thank you for being here today. This has been the National Signing Day stream. Today is February 3rd, 2016, and we will be archiving this broadcast on YouTube. So we welcome you to tune in anytime. And that's it for now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chris Jones.
Yes, sir.